above ground zero is a good day. I want to welcome you to our series, Life Empowerment. And all week long, if you have bought into the series, you should be pumped up, you should be accelerated, and you should be moving closer and closer to maximizing your potential. The Life Empowerment program is going to change your life. And we're going to dive into some of what you'll find in the fourth pillar of the Core 4 system. If you've been following the show, if you've already signed up for the entire Life Empowerment program, then you're going to already know more about your true self today than you ever did before. You know how to develop your talents. And last week I taught you how those talents can be used to make a significant impact on your family, your community, and leave a lasting legacy for this world. But there's one more step, and I call it service, that S word. I wonder if that S on the front of Superman actually means service, because I think that's what makes a person super. Those are the best kinds of people. And these are individuals who look for opportunities to serve others and to use their talents to help and to serve God. So that means technically you could get your blue t-shirt and put that big S on the front of you and get you your red cape. Get ready, because you are going to be leaping buildings at a single bound. No, that's not really what this program is about. It's about service to humanity and service to God. You might say, well, Dr. Trimm, I'm not a superwoman. I'm not a superman. I barely have time to help myself. Yes, I know that sometimes the problems of this world can seem overwhelming, but only if you let that. So listen, in order to live a truly empowered life and to empower others to do the same, you've got to learn that the secret to your growth is in becoming a servant. That's that S. And I'm going to show you the value of it today. I'm going to show you why that S word is important and how to walk through just anything by just learning that power of servanthood. So are you ready? Let's get started. Welcome back. I've got some exciting things I want to share with you over the next few minutes. I wish we had days and days and days just to sit down and talk about this word service. Many of us equate service with servanthood, and we quite don't get it. I think service, a vice, if there's any vice that anyone should have, it should be that passion to want to make this world a better place and change other people's lives. I believe that change starts with a person and not with a process. And this is one of the things that I feel is going wrong with our government. We come up with more programs and more processes and more policies, not knowing that the key to success and changing the corporate destiny or the trajectory of a nation, a government, a community, a family, or an individual starts with an empowered individual. And that's what the Core 4 is all about. It's about living an empowered life. For most of my life, I thought that if I do more and if I got more, it would have really made a difference in status, me feeling significant, me really understanding who I am as an individual. And so I spent the first part of my life doing more, not knowing that what I really was looking for, what I really needed was to be more. And that's why being a servant, not doing service, is what it's all about. Service starts with a person. And so the first question that comes to my mind, why not just be a leader and solve all the problems? Well, I'm going to throw out this oxymoron, and it's a coin phrase. I call it servant leadership. And they almost seem as if they are opposing concepts when in fact they're not. A leader is a person who serves. They have the ability to push people up. Leadership, when I grew up, meant that it was someone in a position. It meant that it was someone that had this title. It was someone who you bowed down to, where they were able to say, me, big chief, you little Indian, and that they were that grand poobah. You remember the Flintstones and the grand poobah. But in this particular series, you're going to learn that you could be more and feel more alive by giving things away, giving your gifts, giving your talents, giving your experience, giving your knowledge, and giving that away to others, whether it be your family or your children or your community or even your workplace, to make things different. Stay tuned. I want to continue sharing with you how service can actually alter the trajectory of your life. And I mean every aspect of your life, from relationships to health and even finances. Stay tuned. Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, Gandhi. These were some of the names that I rolled around in my mind when I said, what can I share in this segment that will really get you turned on and passionate about service? And then I backed up. These are the people that we have studied. We've studied their lives. We've looked for the model, the pattern that we can use in our modern generation. And then I thought, let me back up for a moment. These are individuals that actually gave service. What about sharing the story of someone who received their service from similar individuals? And then I thought about myself, growing up in the realm of poverty. Can you imagine what it felt like when everyone around you grew up in a both parent home or a multi-parent home with both of their parents, their mother, their father? Just about everyone in my community were homeowners, and they owned their businesses. They were entrepreneurs, and they were well off as far as I was concerned. We were the poor family, and I was the poor little girl, a statistic, a demographic. And then here comes Mr. and Mrs. Benjamin. They served our community. As far as I remember, they were the ones that motivated our community to do the greater good for our entire community. They were the catalyst, and they changed my life literally. We ran out of everything, including water. Can you imagine growing up in a warm, hot country like Bermuda, and you wake up to no water, not to bathe, and not to drink? Can you imagine waking up Christmas morning and not having a turkey or food? And that's why I love Christmas today. It all started with the Benjamins. Fast forward. Today, the Benjamins are dead. I don't think that as they were serving our community and serving our family, that they knew amongst the Trimm family, that little girl named Cindy would one day be standing in front of a camera, challenging the world in the area of service. This is why this part of the Core 4 means everything to me. You might say, well, what do I have to offer? You have your unique gift, and that gift has been given to you to impact this world, to impact a life. Your gift, like the Benjamins, could be service to community, or the Marriotts, to change an industry through service, or Ray Kroc, to build an empire so that even long after he has died, his legacy still lives. You might say, well, what does a hamburger with sesame seed buns have to do with service? Everything. Because had it not been for Ray Kroc, had it not been for Mother Teresa, who leaves her country and hangs out amongst the poor and the indigent in India, I'm talking about you as an individual asking yourself this question: what do I have to give? Whether it is building orphanages or feeding the poor, whether it is changing the world with one drive, one desire, and that is to leave my dent, quote unquote. These were the words of Stephen Jobs. He changed the way we do business, the way we educate our children. He changed it when he introduced what I call the I factor. It was an iPhone. It was an iPad. He became an icon. Why? Because the I individualized technology and brought it right home so that people were not terrified or intimidated because they didn't know anything about computers. What he did was he just took the mystery out so that each individual would feel comfortable by using technology. This is what the Core 4 is all about, helping you to hone in, to be able to find your unique gift, and to be able to answer the question, does my life really make a difference? And what can I do to make a difference? Back to the Benjamins. They're not here today to see how their offering of their unique gift of motivation and inspiration and charity to the poor changed a little girl by the name of Cindy Trimm. How it lifted the lid off of her social life, her political life, her spiritual life, her academic life, her economic life. And today I am standing here to pay it forward, to help you to understand service is not just about us going into the trenches to feed the underprivileged or help the underprivileged. In your own home, in your own community, in your own business, in your own industry, in your own nation, you can bring to bear your gifts to solve world problems and leave a legacy for the next generation. Moving beyond the Marriott principle to the people that changed my life, I think I'm going to coin a new phrase, the Benjamin principles. Here we go. Stay tuned.
Join Dr. Cindy Trimm for these next live appearances.
Welcome back. Time sure goes by fast when we are having fun. We are working towards the greater good of humanity when we talk about that word service. I really want to recap so we can tie it all together. For those of you that are just tuning in, you have missed so much, but I'm going to tell you how you can play catch up, and you can do it today, right now. But before I give you that secret away, I want to talk to you about the tying together of service. In order to be great, there's a quote that Jesus made. He that would be great must first serve. And because of that, service is high on my list of the things that I want to acquire as a individual who is called to empower others. And a part of the empowerment special of the Core 4 started with this one word. It started with self-knowledge. I'm going to have to put the word greatness up here, because people do more simply because they want to be more. Greatness is not a bad thing, but it doesn't start with titles and it doesn't start with degrees. Greatness, true greatness, starts with self-knowledge. And isn't that the first pillar of the core four? Secondly, you cannot have greatness if you have no significance. And I believe that significance has a lot to do with success. So let's just break it down. It was one of the famous writers that said these words, and his name was Shakespeare, "To thine own self be true." Jesus said it like this: you cannot love others except you first love yourself. Most of us know what people call us, but what do you call yourself? We know what people want from us, but what do you want for yourself? We know more about what people don't like about us than we know about what we like about ourselves. Self-knowledge is tantamount to service. Self-knowledge, of course, leads into significance. Not only understanding that you are significant, but you're put here to do something significant. And then this will lead you naturally into success. Success to me is the fulfillment of purpose. Everything else is accomplishment. When you know who you are and why you were here, this naturally leads and morphs into you being a success. And then success will bring us to the last point. You don't want to just be in this world and not leave your thumbprint or your footprint or your voice print for the next generation to know Cindy Trimm was here, or Mark was here, or Mike was here, or Cody was here, or anybody was here. What you want is to leave a legacy for the next generation, and it starts with this word, service. What am I here to do? How can I make a difference? How can I leave a dent? One of the things that John Burris said, for anything worth having, one must pay the price. And the price is always work, patience, love, self-sacrifice. No paper currency, no promises to pay, but the gold of real service. I think that is so powerful. Muhammad Ali said, service to others is the rent you pay for your room here on this earth. Just love the quote. No money, no gold, no silver, but the rent that we pay for living in this earth is service. Brilliant. When we talk about the core four, I get a chance to spend 365 days doing life with you. One of the things that Jesus was able to say in the book of Luke 4:18-19 is this, that the Spirit of the Lord is upon me because he has anointed me. He has empowered me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and the recovery of the sight to the blind, to set the oppressed free, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor. I am decreeing over your life that this is the year of the Lord's favor upon you and your family. In order to create the change that we want to see in our community, the change has to start with you and me. Could things be the way they are because you are the way you are? What one thing can you change that can change everything? You could change your paradigm. You could change your understanding of that one word, service. Then you might say, well, I'm a single parent. I'm straining to make ends meet. You might ask, when do I have the time or find the resources to be of service to anyone when I can barely be of service to myself and my family? I want to challenge you with a quote that Charles Stanley made. He said, in giving us children, God places us in a position of both leadership and service. He calls us to give up our lives for someone else's sake, to abandon our own desires and put our children's interests first. Yet, according to his perfect design, it is through this selfless act that we can become truly fulfilled. What if that child has no parent, you might ask? Well, I believe that the world is a global village, and the best service to any child who has been a victim of neglect or abuse or abandonment must not be further victimization of bureaucracy void of true compassion, but I believe that our intention should be pure attention. When we're able to find our purpose, whether we're single parents, whether we're businessmen or businesswomen, whether we are preachers, moral leaders, ethical leaders, whether we're politicians or scientists, I believe that once we find our true purpose, once we're able to live inside out through knowing who we are, once we find that passion that makes us feel significant, once we are fulfilling purpose, maximizing potential to bring about success, I believe that we all can leave a legacy of hope, of morality, and ethics for the next generation. After all, I believe that's the price we pay for rooming here on earth. I want to do life with you. Nobody shares their trade secrets, but I get for 365 days if you call now to do life with you and to share so much more about our core four. You are unique and you can make a difference. Find out what issues stir your passion within you. Find out what makes you tick. Passion equals purpose, and purpose equals passion. And when you put those two together, it is explosive. You can turn things around, not just for yourself, but for the entire world. You can turn your life around. You can become that person that you always knew you wanted to be. And in spite of it all, you can live a life that's worth living and then leave a legacy behind for the next generation to know that there once lived a person by the name of you.
How different would your life be if you had more money, more energy, more time, greater knowledge, and better health?
All that worry is just like a weight that has lifted off of my shoulder. You know, financially, emotionally, just to really see my mom now truly